Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Council Sessions. Dave Cottingham here with my MandaLore co-host. Well, actually, I'm the co-host. He's the creator of the MandaLore Podcast. Martin Donison, Cyber. How are you, sir?
How's it going, everybody? I'm doing good, bud. How are you doing?
Doing real good. Love the t-shirt. Looks good. The MandaLore Podcast. Yes. I would be remiss to say that go check that out. Go subscribe at the MandaLore Podcast on everything you get, Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. We got that Libsyn page as well. You can find us on Libsyn. So go check that out. We're going to be getting right back into that as season 2 of The Mandalorian here debuts in October. 2 months, Martin. 2 months.
I know. It's close. It feels like a long wait, but man, it's finally getting there.
Finally getting there. We are doing this. We've been talking about this for a little while. I'm excited to get some discussions going on here with Martin on Council Sessions. This is where we answer the burning questions lingering in the galaxy. And these are one-on-one conversations where we dive in. And right now, I really want to focus on, of course, our big topic that we usually talk about is the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, yeah.
We are on the eve, Cyber, of a trailer getting debuted here.
You leaked that to me earlier today, and I just about jumped out of my skin. I had no idea that was coming. Yeah.
A lot of us, there were rumors floating around on when. Of course, Star Wars Celebration would be happening next weekend, so we would have gotten it then. I feel like, as well as all this other news that Lucasfilm, I feel like, is keeping close to the chest. It's funny because someone pointed out on Twitter today that Star Wars, the Twitter account Star Wars, has not tweeted in like 3 days.
Whoa.
Which is unusual because they post 5 or 6 times a day, right?
Yeah.
So something's about to happen.
They're saving up.
They are saving up. So with that in mind, we want to talk about The Mandalorian. And our question that we are going to dive into on this episode is, what are you most excited for in season 2 of The Mandalorian? Now, you know as well as I do, because we text each other pretty often, we don't really know anything about season 2. Right?
No, they've been pretty tight-lipped about it, yeah.
Tight-lipped, as they were with season 1, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But let's run down really quick the things that we do know. Now, again, not concrete, because I can't say that Lucasfilm has confirmed any of this, but there's a lot of sources that we follow that are pretty accurate. So let's talk about the Clone Wars characters that are set to return from their debut on the Clone Wars and into live action.
Yes.
First off is Bo-Katan, apparently played by Katie Sackhoff. I know you're excited about that.
I'm excited about that because I've always loved Katie just as a sci-fi actor. She's been so much fun to watch. And Battlestar Galactica, most of you will remember her from that, playing Starbuck. So she's amazing. And she voiced Bo-Katan all through the Clone Wars series. So it's just a natural fit for her to come on and take the role to live action because she already knows the character.
Exactly right. Yeah. And she very, very easily could look like the animated version, even though it doesn't have to always look the same, but she does resemble.
Yeah. She already looks like her. Yeah. It's almost like they animated her or animated character to look like her.
That's right. Yeah. Then, of course, the big character that everybody's waiting so patiently for to become a live action character is Ahsoka Tano. Mm-hmm. Rumored to be played by Rosario Dawson.
Right.
This seems like it's pretty much confirmed. I mean, everybody's talking about it. The only one that hasn't necessarily confirmed it is Lucasfilm.
Or Rosario herself.
Or Rosario. Now, yeah, she was in a couple interviews saying, I think there was one interview where she had said she can't wait till something's announced, not saying that it's that, but
okay.
There was a little bit.
That's enough for me.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Then, of course, there's rumors floating around, and somewhat feels like it's somewhat confirmed that Tamara Morrison is been cast in season 2, meaning that he'll most likely play a version of Boba Fett if he has survived.
Right.
Of course, there's rumors that he could be just playing Rex, since that is the same clone character.
Same clone character, and he's played both. Because he played Django in the prequel movies.
That's right. And he was the likeness of all the clones.
Yep.
We've never seen Boba Fett's face, which technically would be his face.
Or as an adult. We've never seen him as an adult.
Correct.
Yes.
As an adult. Yep. So those are the three big characters from Clone Wars. Now, of course, it's been rumored that some Rebels characters like Thrawn and possibly Ezra could pop up, but I feel like the sources I'm seeing are talking more about that being part of the animated series that's going to continue the Adventures of Rebels.
Right.
Of course, you have... Yeah, go ahead.
If Ezra made an appearance, I mean, it'd be a perfect fit because he will be much older now, and have a lot of experience under his belt. So whether he's grizzled, whether he's faced a lot of adversity, who knows? I think that'd be a cool character to introduce in live action if they went with that. But
100%, yeah, definitely think he's worth coming live action.
Yeah,
you have directors returning. Rick Famuyiwa and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are all set to return as directors. But there are some new ones, and these are confirmed, and they were confirmed back on Star Wars Day on May the 4th,
right?
Because they tweeted it out themselves. Robert Rodriguez, known for Sin City adaptations,
Desperado. If you guys remember? Yeah,
absolutely. Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And then you have Peyton Reed confirmed. Many people might not know him, but he just directed an MCU movie, Ant-Man, a couple years ago.
Wow, okay. That's a good pull then. Yeah,
it is.
Ant-Man was really good, yeah.
Yeah. So Peyton Reed set to direct an episode. And then, of course, Carl Weathers is going to be directing an episode, which is awesome.
That is cool. He's got so much theatrical and cinematic experience. I think he'll really take the reins of that and do something special with it. Yeah.
Totally agree. Now, that's 6 directors I just mentioned. If they have the same amount of episodes from season 1, which was 8, my guess is a couple of these might have double episodes. I think Deborah Cho did 2 last year. I think Filoni did 2 last year as well. I think he did the pilot and the Tatooine episode. So I could be wrong about that, but
yeah.
But I think a couple of them will probably have 2.
Now, wasn't there was a rumor about Bryce Dallas Howard possibly coming back as well? But
there was. I don't know. I haven't seen any news about that anymore either. But there were some. Yeah, there were some rumblings that she would come back and do another one. But
yeah.
Haven't seen that yet because she went off and shot. She was shooting the next Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, so
she could be busy.
Yeah. Now, of course, Robert Rodriguez. I mean, that if you think of the action movies that he's done, that you always expect some crazy action out of him. So to bring his style and his touch to the Mandalorian, can you imagine some of the shootouts we might see or something because of that? Yeah.
Yes, that's totally right. I was. When I got into independent film early on, he was a big inspiration because he had done a lot of kind of independent movies before he broke in. And he's a very independent director. He has his own studios in Texas. Yeah. Doesn't really get mixed up in the full Hollywood scene. He brings actors to his place, his studios, and he makes makes the movies he wants to make, and he's a very, very unique director. I like him a lot.
Well, and I think he has a documentary out there about how to make your own movie for under $1,000 or something like that.
Yes,
wants to help other young filmmakers that don't have a budget because it's not an easy industry to break into.
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. And then, of course, we have some casting rumors that haven't been fully confirmed, but they are there. Timothy Olyphant has been rumored to been spotted on set.
Right.
We talked about this on the MandaLore podcast where
we did.
It's been rumored that he is playing a character called Cobb Vanth, which is the character from the Aftermath books written by Chuck Wendig that basically portrays a character that has found Boba Fett's armor post episode 6. So again, we'll see how that plays out. But
yeah, and doesn't he go around pretending to be Boba Fett for a little while to get fear out of people?
A little bit, yeah. He claims to use it to instill himself as sheriff of this town on Tatooine. But no one knows. But no one can tell if it's Boba Fett or somebody else, But he does reveal himself to somebody. You've got a very popular character, very popular actor, I think, throughout the 80s and 90s, Michael Biehn. Mm-hmm. A lot of people might know him from Aliens, which is the second Alien movie in the franchise. And then, of course, Terminator.
The Rock, I believe.
The Rock, yeah, The Rock.
That Alcatraz escape movie, yep.
He is awesome in The Rock, yes. That scene between him and Ed Harris, man, that was so good.
Yeah. Just a great action actor from back in the day.
He is, yeah. So he's rumored to be playing a bounty hunter in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, besides the main cast returning, like Carl Weathers and Gina Carano and, of course, Pedro Pascal, there is rumor that Bill Burr will be back as Mayfeld.
Mm-hmm. Yes, from that prison episode where they went to break out a bunch of the prisoners. That's what the job was that they got paid for. And Bill Burr was one of the main guys that I believe kind of turned on him in the end. And there was kind of a bit of he got left behind on the prison ship, if I remember correctly.
He did. He was locked up with the rest of the guys, rest of the crew there. So we'll see. We'll see how he returns. And then I think the biggest news that could possibly be one of our answers for this question is the Darksaber. Of course, that was introduced at the very end of season 1.
The last thing we saw, pretty much.
The last thing we saw in the hands of Moff Gideon there.
Yeah.
So that opened up a world of possibilities of where this story could go. Of course, new aliens, I'm sure we'll see. Favreau shared a picture of a Gamorrean guard, back a few months ago. So new things coming, of course. And then we just said that a trailer is rumored to be dropping. Well, by the time you probably watch this, hopefully I'm gonna release this before that. But tonight, if you're watching this today, then I'll put this up there. Tonight, during the Lakers Blazers NBA basketball game on ESPN,
cool.
The trailer is supposed to debut. Of course, it'll debut online as well. So
very cool.
All right. So after all that, and after all that talk that we've done over the past year, Martin, with season 1, I don't know. I'll let you start the conversation. What are you most excited for? What's the one or two things that you just can't wait to see or see or hear?
Well, there's two things that I'm really excited about, but when you bring in the possibility of Boba Fett showing up in whatever form, I mean, that of course gets me really excited. So we'll save that one for the end. But really, based on what we were left with in season 1, the characters we got introduced to, Jin, who was, the Mando, Baby Yoda, Cara Dune, and Greef Karga. That's our main 4 characters. I'm really looking forward to seeing where their story picks up from. I want to see how they continue it. If we're going to get a big time jump after season 1, or if it's going to take place right where it ended, because we don't know what's going to happen, where they're all going to be at, because we know it's Mando and Baby Yoda take off in the ship in the Razor Crest, and they're gone, leaving Cara and Greef on the planet with Moff Gideon not too far away in a crashed TIE fighter.
Yeah.
So I really want to pick up the stories of our 4 main characters. Where are they? What they're doing? Are they going to come back together somehow and actually form a team, or is Mando going to still go it alone, and him and his little clan member searching for Baby Yoda's home? That's what I'm curious about. I want to know, because those characters became so beloved already, and we know they're all coming back. So that's my main point of interest. Where the stories are.
Where the stories are. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm Look, I think even right now, which is hard to say, the Clone Wars right now is still probably my favorite Star Wars series.
Okay.
I do love The Mandalorian, and I think it's going to become my favorite. But right now, I've got 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, and I was so invested in that series, right? So just the thought of some of those characters making the jump to live action,
right,
is really exciting for me. I mean, possibly to see Ahsoka Tano wielding double lightsabers, fighting against, I guess, Gideon with the Darksaber. I think, but the problem is with that is if I get too worked up about it and I start expecting so much from that, I think I'm going to get let down because I don't think those characters are going to be that impactful into the season. As I think a lot of people want them to be. So I am going to,
Sorry, I think on your point there, they can't make them too much of a main character because they don't want to steal the spotlight away from our characters we have, which is Mando and Baby Yoda. And we talked about it on the Mandalore. They have to be careful with Baby Yoda because this is a show about the Mandalorian. They can't take too much spotlight away from him. So yes, they're going to introduce these characters, and I share your excitement, but they're going to be careful because they don't want them to steal the focus.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So I'm with you on that, and I think that I've got to temper my expectations a little bit for those characters. So I'm going to probably not say that that's what I'm most excited for. So I think, and I think you hinted at this a little bit. I think I'm most excited for what happens with the Darksaber and how that ties into wherever this story is going. Because not only in the first episode did we get introduced to this incredible child, a species that we have no idea what is called or where they're from. Yoda being my favorite character, I was so excited to see that. But as the season went on and we got to the end, and I'm telling you, when I saw that saber break through that TIE fighter and cut that piece, I was like, what? I could not believe they brought, even though, and we had talked about it on the show, like it's Dave Favreau. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. They're gonna bring anything and everything as they can into the series from their previous work. So it wasn't
animated or not.
It wasn't so far-fetched that they would bring the saber in, but how they did it was very exciting.
Yes.
How did it land into the hand of a former Imperial when the last we saw it was in the hand of Bo-Katan in the final season of Star Wars Rebels? So there's a lot of story there that I'm very interested in. Will we get that history? I don't know. I would lean towards probably not, but I am super excited on how the stories come and center around that Darksaber, because there's so much history to that, going back thousands of years. It's not just some random artifact. It is a unique, one of a kind lightsaber, and it rules the Mandalorian people. That was the whole purpose of it. So I'm the Darksaber, hands down, probably right now I'm most excited for.
That was my second point. So I completely share your enthusiasm for that. I mean, I only really just started learning about the history of the Darksaber because I'm catching up on all the animated series. But when you seen it come through, I mean, this is the first to see it in live action and look as real and alive as it was, and that the Darksaber has a different shape to it than all the lightsabers we've seen, which makes it so unique. Yeah, just the connections. I mean, you're talking about Ahsoka and these other and Bo-Katan coming out. If we're going to see live action versions of them, they're all tied into the Darksaber, and so everything is connected. And just to see, like, the only point I'm going to counter you on is you think we might not get any backstory. I have a feeling we will. If Bo-Katan is going to appear, and possibly Ahsoka, I think because we did hear stories of Giancarlo Esposito that he broke like 3 or 4 of the Darksaber models that he's fighting with because he's in training on how to fight with a lightsaber. So we know there's a big battle coming, and I just have a feeling that it's going to be him and Bo-Katan facing off. Maybe because we need to know, how did he get the Darksaber from her? If it indeed transitioned from her to him, maybe there's some other people at play in between, but I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to at least touch on some of that story, because you can't just have him have it without ever telling us why.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, he's an Imperial leader. Does that mean he now rules Mandalore? Right?
Yeah, we have no idea the state of Mandalore right now, and I think you're right. I think we'll probably get some discussion about the history of it, but I was kind of more or less thinking, unfortunately, we won't really see what happens. I don't think there's going to be really any flashbacks. Maybe there will be. I don't know, because they could show a flashback of Bo-Katan and Ahsoka. Maybe that's how we see them. Maybe they don't actually show up in this present time. But I do think Bo-Katan will, though.
Right.
So that's that's interesting. I think so. So I was about to say, which I think I know your answer now, but because of what Giancarlo mentioned with the training, do you think he's fighting? So do you think he's fighting against somebody with lightsabers?
I would think so, unless he's just using it in self-defense against laser fire or something. I don't know. I have a feeling it's a lightsaber duel. That's why he's training so hard, because he said he never fought with one before, and which is why it led to him breaking a few. So he's learning at the same time as he's being trained. So it is going to be a lightsaber duel. We haven't seen a good live action one in how long? So it's I guess the first one on TV series as well. I guess it hasn't been that long. I mean, Rise of Skywalker isn't that old of a movie, so we did see something recently. But the Darksaber in a live action duel, we've never seen that. So,
and that's interesting to know. Again, that brings up a whole other conversation of did Moff Gideon train with sabers, or is he just a swordsman? In a sense.
Right.
Or does he have force abilities?
Right. Well, that's a good point to bring up, because there's a few different ways it can go. I mean, we saw in the sequel movies, oh boy, now I'm totally blanking on it. What our new characters, Finn, he was able to wield a lightsaber, and he'd never held one before, but he was able. Right. Everyone can have a basic knowledge of how to swing a sword. I mean, it's just a stick in your hand, basically.
That's right. So, that's right.
Yeah. Does Moff Gideon have actual training, or is he just I'm the one who owns this thing now, and it just seeing it instills fear in most people. So that'll be interesting to find out if indeed he has training or not with it.
That's right. Okay, so in summary, I think mine's the Darksaber. I think your just overall story, right?
Well, our characters. I mean, I fell in love with Cara Dune and Baby Yoda and Mando. I loved this trio, and I really hoped Cara would go with them in their adventures to try to find where Baby Yoda's from. So hopefully he comes around and picks her back up. Somehow they got to get back together. So I love the characters.
They will.
And I just want to see where they're at. I want to get back on screen. I want to share their adventures on this TV show. So
yeah, I'm really glad they didn't kill off Carl Weathers, because it seemed like they did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
But he survived, so that's really good. I think it's a great ensemble there with the three of them. I love bringing this up because I love talking about Star Wars, obviously, but I love going back to what Filoni said in that behind the scenes episode of The Gallery, where he says, look, Star Wars ultimately is about family. And now if you look at every story, movies, Clone Wars, Rebels, there's a group of characters, and those characters are family. They're looking out for each other. They're growing with each other. They're going on adventures together. now I feel like we have our family now in the Mandalorian with those characters you mentioned, and it's going to be fun to see. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see what happens. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, and none of they're usually not related, but there's always at least trio, a core trio that are like family. And that's the strength of Star Wars. And yeah,
that's right. It's awesome. Well, that's it, everybody, for this episode. Thanks for checking this out. Of course, if you're listening to us, I'm actually posting these now on the podcast feed. Some of you have requested that, so of course I'm going to make the effort and do that, because at first this was just going to be on YouTube, but no, we'll put them out there for everybody that's listening to us on the podcast waves. Of course, can't stress it enough. Go search and find us, the MandaLore Podcast. We will be kicking back up here very shortly. We've got a couple episodes we're going to put out before the season debuts, and then each week after the episodes, kind of stealing your thunder, Cyber Ren. You usually promote this better than I do. But after each episode, come back and we do huge deep dives into each episode of The Mandalorian. And I feel like, I love doing our show because sometimes they're 2 hours long. It doesn't feel like 2 hours. But man, we got to be careful, because I think with what we could be getting in season 2, these might be even longer.
But the trick of being a podcast host is that our content is so enjoyable to listen to, you don't notice the time going by.
That's right.
And when you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a fan like we are and you're listening to us, you're not going to care either.
That's right. No. And Martin does a great job of opening the doors to our fans and everybody listening to the podcast for feedback. So definitely, if you want to get involved in the MandaLore Podcast, you can send an email to the show. It's the MandaLore Podcast at gmail.com. Is that right?
It is. Yep.
And, but anyway, go hit that subscribe button. You'll get our new episodes. Go listen back to our season 1 breakdown. We also broke down the Clone Wars season 7.
We did,
as that debuted and premiered their final 12 episodes there. So a lot of content.
We did a bunch of bonus episodes just talking about Star Wars content. Yeah,
that's right. Yep.
And we got some ideas coming up. I mean, we're looking at. We know there's some new Star Wars TV shows coming down the line. The Obi-Wan series, Cassian Andor. I mean, I'm more than sure we're going to talk about those as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm getting excited for Cassian, actually. I'm getting excited for Cassian.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a fun series too. So, all right. Definitely. And then, of course, look for Martin again joining me on another episode of Council Sessions coming very, very soon. Of course, go to InsideTheForce.com. You get links to all of our stuff, YouTube, all of our podcast outlets, or you can go to InsideTheForce.com and listen right there on the website. So thank you, Martin, for joining me on this episode.
Thanks for having me. That's been a blast. I enjoyed what you guys have done so far in this, so I'm just happy to be part of it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Take care. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.